Good morning, Saturn class. I am going to be reading you a book this morning called Tidy by Emily Gravett. And I want you to have a think about what is going on in this book. Are the actions of the animals good or bad? What could they be doing differently? And what do you think the message of this book is? And it links in to our science topic. So let's get going. Deep in the forest lived a badger called Pete, who tidied and cleaned and kept everything neat. He tidied the flowers by checking each patch and snipping off any that didn't quite match. He tidied the fox by grooming his fur. He untangled each knot and each twig and burr. He tidied the birds from the big to the small by brushing their beaks and bathing them all. He picked up stray sticks, he swept and he rubbed. He polished the rocks and he scoured and scrubbed. So when a leaf fell, well, all the leaves are falling. But still Pete tidied up. But still he wasn't happy. Now the trees looked bare and scrappy. And so, to make it all look neat, Pete undertook a mighty feat. He dug up every single tree. But then it rained. There was a flood. What job do you think the trees have then that means once they're chopped down there was a flood? You could maybe look that up on the internet. And afterwards, a lot of mud. Pete called in the diggers, he called in the mixers, he called in the concrete, the rakes, the fixers. No mud, no leaves, no mess, no trees. Perfectly tidy and perfectly neat. This forest is practically perfect, said Pete. Do you think the forest looks perfect? I'm hungry, he thought. I deserve a treat. So he hunted around for something to eat. But the beetles and worms that he usually found were under the concrete, deep underground. And so Pete decided to go home instead. If he couldn't have dinner, he'd go straight to bed. But when he arrived and took out his key, there wasn't a door where the door used to be. Later that night, Pete tossed and turned. His belly was empty, it rumbled and churned. As he lay in his mixer, wide awake, he started to think, I've made a mistake. So, the very next morning, when it got light, he set about trying to put everything right. Then the animals came, from the strong to the weak, and they lent him a paw, a claw, or a beak. They put everything back as it had always been, but maybe less ordered and not quite as clean. And Pete, well, he promised to tidy up less, but if he succeeded is anyone's guess.